I'm Ann Callahan, live in Nashville, Indiana.
I'm Jim Callahan, and of course I live in Nashville, Indiana also.
What was life like as a child?
Well, I was raised on a farm, and I lived on a farm until I got married, and you were something else.
I was a factory worker's boy. I grew up in a very small town and was very poor, and it was a bad part of town. My dad worked in a factory.
Okay. What were your favorite activities as a teenager?
As a teenager? Oh, we couldn't hang out with our friends like you can nowadays because it always costs a long distance phone call to call my friends. And I couldn't just call them like you can nowadays. And I couldn't, but I'd meet my friend on Saturday. I'd get a piano lesson, and then I'd meet her downtown, and she would, after she came home from milking the cows, she and I would go to the movies. And so we spent a lot, we'd go to Ollie's and drink a cherry Coke and a toasted ham salad sandwich. That's what we always had. What did you do as a teenager?
Before?
Well, yeah, before you saw me,
Well, I had the same kind of we met at Ollie's Drug Store.
Oh, same thing. I bet I saw you there.
And we had the ham salad sandwich.
You did the same thing?
Yep. Because all teenagers did that. And a cherry Coke.
Oh.
And I was in sports a lot. So most boys did that. We went there after practice of football and basketball and track. And we spent a lot of our free time. We had homework to do, but other than that we had sports. So every night after school, all season, we had football in the fall and we had basketball in the winter and we had track in the spring. Some boys played baseball in the spring instead.
You didn't like baseball?
I didn't care about baseball.
What chores did you do when you were younger?
Chores?
Yeah.
I used to feed the chickens and gather the eggs, and the hen would maybe still be sitting on the nest, and I had to reach very carefully under the nest to see if there's any eggs under her. And sometimes she'd peck me, and I hated to do the eggs. I didn't mind the little chickens; they were kind of cute. I didn't mind carrying the water out there and all that. It's okay. I helped Mother clean the table and off, and dusted the house, and carried the laundry downstairs, and I don't know. I never got to ride on the tractor. That was no. Most farm boys got to ride on the tractor, but I never got to ride on the tractor because women don't do those kind of things. In my house. What did you do?
Well, I had lots of chores because my mother and dad both always worked, and I didn't have any brothers or sisters. So one of the chores that lasted all winter was carrying coal into the house. We had a coal stove, one coal stove, in the middle of the dining room, and they would deliver coal out to the alley, which was a small drive at the back of the house, and dump it in a pile. And it would be in large lumps. And I would first have to take usually an axe head, and break that into smaller pieces that would go in the stove. It's relatively soft. And then I would load it in coal buckets and carry it up to the back of the house, and we had a huge tank there, and we put the coal in that tank. And then from there, we would put it in a bucket again and carry it into the stove. It's kind of 2 stages to get it to the stove. And then, after you burned the coal, you had ashes that you'd shake, and the waste of the coal, you'd get that in coal bucket, scoop it out of the stove, and carry it back out and put it in a pile by the alley.
Did somebody pick it up? Nobody picked it up, just piled it.
It deteriorated kind of. And I had other things. I helped, always did house chores because my mother worked. Run the broom
I did that.
and dust. And I helped, I wasn't very big that I helped prepare meals. My mother would work,
Really?
yeah, like lunch. Lunch.
You mean,
Well,
oh,
we
a
had
can of
three.
soup?
We had pretty simple meals, or cold beans and,
Oh, you didn't have to heat them or anything?
no.
No microwaves, of course.
No. And I had a father-in-law, which is Granddad Murray, which is Mother's dad. And he searched for knowledge. He liked music and art and philosophy
Mainly
and
philosophy.
religion and all those kinds of things that make you think. Plus he liked athletics. He liked to travel. He liked anything that used your mind. And I was around him quite a lot when I was dating grandmother. And I thought he had the right philosophy of life. You should always search for new things and learn new things. And I picked that part of him out as something that would make me better.
Well, accomplishment.
Helped me accomplish more. And in high school, I worked for a veterinarian, which is what I was going to be. And he was a hustler and smart, and he was kind of my dad for quite a long period. So those things, I picked out of him that those things were good, and those things all helped me to be better.
What about your book?
Oh yeah, you accomplished writing a book.
Oh yeah, I've written a book that was published.
Not vanity publishing.
Not a
It
vanity.
was
You know, you
published
can
by
write a book and pay somebody to print it. That's not the same. It was published by a publisher.
He's writing on a book now, right now. Another one.
We've been leaders of a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
In our jobs and eventually in our retirement, different heads of the committees in church and
Lions Club.
won awards in Lions Club and the church and Historical Society. We've been leaders of all those things.
We started the Literacy Coalition here in town since we retired, and it's still going on.
The foundation.
Foundation, yeah.
I was on the first board. I helped start the
yeah.
community foundation, which is the thing that gives money to charities. Raised 2 good kids,
Yeah.
several good grandkids.
Yeah, that was our accomplishment, yeah, right.
One grandkid was particularly good.
Yeah.
The one that's doing the interview.
I think you can, Dad. What were some of your favorite places that you visited, like Madagascar and stuff
Oh,
like that?
yeah, I loved Madagascar. That was fun.
Excuse me, I got a frog. Literally.
I liked Africa. We've been to Africa a couple times. I think animals part of Africa. And I also liked the northern part of Africa. We went to Egypt, and that was a great trip, and Libya, that was a great trip. So we've been 4 trips in Africa, northern Africa and southern Africa.
5.
Oh, 5, yeah, all right. What else?
Well, we like nature and we
Nature,
like
yeah.
cultures.
Anything nature we love, yeah. Just go ahead and do
Okay.
another.
How did you two meet?
How do we meet? He came out to Little Jefferson High School, where I was going to school, when he was a sophomore, and I was a junior. And it was not love at first sight. I loved this other guy, and he didn't love me, but I loved him. And Granddad dated several of us girls, and finally decided that he liked me the most.